So I want to be able to show you some stuff in Miles Arctic today. I'm going to put it up there. Hopefully it'll work good enough that you can see it when you log in. You can figure out where you're at. But anyway, I said I wanted to give you some guidelines on the book. If you want to put all 6 chapters in one, or if you just want to bring one chapter at a time, that'll be okay, because we're not going to use all of it at one time, obviously. So that'll save you transporting stuff and carrying it around and losing your pages, okay? Again, when you get to Accounting 1, you're going to need these first 6 chapters again. So make yourself good notes. If you have questions about stuff and you figure it out, write the answers in there. Like I said, I'm going to give you some working papers that you can print out to use to work with, to solve exercises and problems and stuff. You can keep all of that I give back to you. Some of it you'll send to me and I won't send it back to you, but some of it you'll get. And you'll have that file where you can open those and get all the papers. When you take Miss Langston's class for Accounting 1, of course, it's usually an all online class. And so she has everything for you to turn in Excel. And I do have some of those files, so I'll probably give you some of those every once in a while. What she has you do is download an Excel file, and you'll type in all of your numbers and stuff on the spreadsheets, and then you just save the file and upload it back to her, and that way she can grade them. It's actually a little easier than what I'm going to have you do, which is writing on paper and then having to turn them in at the office, and then they'll send them over to me. And I mean, it's actually a lot faster to do it all online. And so I like for you to have paper to write on for this class, because sometimes that helps. But like I said, as we go along, maybe toward the end of the semester, I'll start giving you some of the Excel files so that you can get used to doing it that way for Accounting 1, okay? So, like I said, that's the whole point. The whole point of this class is to get you ready to take Accounting 1, all right? I mean, that's the purpose and point of this class. This class is not transferable. It does not count as Accounting 1 or Accounting 2 on a business degree. It does count as one of your electives for the business degrees, but the point of this is to get you ready to take Accounting 1, which is a transferable. We offer the same exact course they offer at ASU or UCA or U of A when you take Accounting 1, okay? So this one, like I said, is just set up. The first 6 chapters cover all of the basic stuff, all of the language problems, all of the forms, all of that stuff. When you get to chapter 7 and 8 and 9, then you start having to add stuff to it, okay? But these first 6 cover all the basic stuff. And so that's what I'm going to be covering with you, trying to get everybody going the right directions, all right? I've had people, honestly, that made a D or a C in this class and they got all concerned about it. If you got enough and you made a C or a D that you went into Accounting 1 and made a B in it, I'm tickled to death, okay? Like I said, this class is not transferable. This class is for you to get what you need to out of it so that when you go to Accounting 1, you're ready to start in, okay? Like I said, me covering 6 chapters in a whole semester is a lot different from having to cover those 6 chapters in about 6 weeks in Accounting 1, okay? So we're going to be through about chapter 2 about the time they're finished with the first 6 chapters in Accounting 1. All right? So that's like I said, I just want to let you know where we're going, and why you're doing this, okay? I've had people kind of get upset, if I'm going to have to do these again, why am I doing them now? Because I can do it a lot slower and I can give you a lot more materials and I can give you things and help you and show you pictures and stuff like that she doesn't have time to do in Accounting 1. Okay? So that's the reason why we offer this class and we're doing this class. Okay? Now I'm going to switch this over. I hope I don't blow something up. Maybe I won't tear anything up too bad. I still can't see anybody, but they're trying to fix the audio file is what they're working on that right now. So that's good. I'm not worried about it right now. I don't have anything really technical I have to show you guys today. So, okay. This is the Miles Arca activities page for this class, and I know you can't see all my buttons over on the left and stuff like that, but all I want to do is just go over the first couple of weeks with you and get you started so you'll know what to do for Thursday, okay? All right? So I'm going to scroll this up a little bit so we can see it a little better, hopefully. There we go. Okay. On week 1, I do have a getting started link. I like to put this in there. And if you click on that, all it has is a calendar and a link to the syllabus. I sent the calendar to all of the campuses. They were supposed to print those out and hand them out today. Did you guys get those?
No.
Okay. If you didn't get those, you can go right here and click on Intro to Accounting Calendar, and it will open a little calendar in Word. All it does is it shows you what we're going to be talking about each day in class. Okay? So that way you'll know when we're going to start Chapter 2, when we're going to start Chapter 3, when things are going to be, when your exams are open in Miles Arca, stuff like that, okay? So it's just a calendar that just shows, basically, like today it says intro. Thursday says Chapter 1, okay? But the reason I do that is so if you do miss a day, you know what we were talking about, okay? And so that'll help you a little bit as you're going along. Also, once they get all of this straightened out, I don't know if it'll do it today, but usually the videos are recorded from the class, and at the end of the class, usually within just a few minutes, but by the end of the day, they'll actually have the whole video posted in activities for that day, and they're dated. So you can look on your calendar, if you want to remember what we talked about that day, you can look on your calendar and find the video for that day, and you can watch that video, okay? And it records the whole video. Now, every once in a while, it doesn't work or you can't hear something because they've had a problem like we've had today, but most of the time it works really well. And so if you do miss a class or, we talked about something and you forgot how to get that one number, you can go to the video and you can fast forward and move through the video and go to where we talked about that and, review that if you need to. Okay? So it is a good system. I'm horrified that after all the work the guys have put into it this summer, they work on this thing like crazy, trying to make sure it works, and then we all get in here and the first day it crashes on them. But usually it works really well. And like I said, they call them archived lectures. They are really helpful. Actually, I'm going to open the archived lectures for this class so my online class can watch them if they want to, because that really will help them as they're working on it. Okay, so if they didn't bring you your calendars that I asked them to print out, you can just go right here, click on Intro to Accounting Calendar, and it'll open that, and you can print you out a copy. Okay, so that's not a big deal. I just wanted you to have that so you know what we were doing each day. Okay. There's also a link in here that says Chapter 1 Accounting in Action Discussion. Okay? If you click on that, notice that's for this week, right? There is a video that I want you to watch. Okay? It's about 30 minutes. It's a little less than 30 minutes, but give yourself. And it is a horribly dated video. It looks like it's from the 80s, okay? They have computers that look like bricks, and they have laptops that are older than I am, and, not if it's from the 80s. But the point of the video is very, very good, okay? And so I want you to watch it. Just bear with it. They have the shirts with the big collars, and but like I said, the video does something that I went to at the time, the most expensive school in the state of Arkansas, and I had to take managerial accounting, intermediate accounting, I mean, all these accounting classes for my business degree, and nobody ever bothered making the point that this video does. And that's why I show it, I have you look at it the very first week and watch the video. There's a discussion about the video. Just click on the discussion after you watch the video, and it has you write a paragraph about what you thought about the video on the discussion board, okay? I'm going to tell you what the point of the video is. Sometimes I make you wait until after you watch it, and I want you to, I think it helps you concentrate a little bit more if you're looking for the point, okay? The point that I have in making you watch this video is this. Like I said, I went through, I graduated from Lyon here at Batesville, which in the early 90s was the most expensive school in the state of Arkansas. Now it's the third now. Hendricks and something else have passed it. But anyway, they had nobody in the accounting department, nobody in the business department that told me this. And when I watched this video to teach this class, it was like a light just came on, and I understood things a lot better. Okay? And I mean, I've even had master's level accounting classes, and nobody ever bothered making this point. The point is this, you ready? Accounting is important to the rest of the business. Now, doesn't that seem really common sense and like it would be the first thing they would tell you? When I took this at a four-year college, you had the management department, and you had the finance department, and you had the econ department, and you had the accounting department, and you had the marketing department. And when you went to those classes, they all acted like their department was the only thing in the business that was important. My degree is actually in business management, and so I have all these hours in business management. I have almost enough hours in marketing for a minor. I almost got an accounting minor. I took econ classes I didn't have to take. And the whole time I was taking all those classes, every one of those instructors acted like the only thing I needed to know to run a business was management stuff. And then I went to the marketing guy, and he acted like that was all I needed to know. And I went to accounting, and they acted like accounting was a standalone force unto itself, and nobody else could do it, and nobody else could understand it. And I went to econ, and they acted like, well, nobody could understand that. So, but this video makes a very good point, and it does a good job of describing how accounting impacts all of those other parts of the business. Why managers look at accounting stuff. Why marketing people look at accounting. And like I said, it's very outdated. I wish they would make a new video just like it, using new technology and at least shirts that didn't have collars this wide. It does a really good job of that, and that's why I want you to watch it. I know it like I said, it's kind of drawn out, but they do a really, really good job of describing how accounting fits into the rest of the business. And so, like I said, just go watch the video, and then answer that discussion question, and then we'll probably talk about that a little bit either Thursday or Tuesday. We'll look at that and see if you guys got the same thing I did out of the video. Okay? So that's basically your big assignment for this week, okay? Is to watch that video and answer that discussion question for me. All right. Below that, on week 2, I have the assignments that you're going to do for chapter 1. Chapter 1 does not have any math in it, okay? Chapter 1 is just kind of an introduction to accounting. It talks about, what accounting does. It talks about the different careers that are available in accounting. There are about 4 or 5 different major focuses that accountants take. And when you make that focus, then you take classes that are specific for those areas. And so they just talk about that a little bit, the career of accounting. The last part of the chapter talks about an organization, and it talks about some guidelines. They're called Generally Accepted Accounting Principles.
Generally accepted.
GAAP. Okay? Probably, unless you have done accounting, you've never heard of GAAP before. GAAP, Generally Accepted Accounting Principles. The Generally Accepted Accounting Principles are guidelines that are set up by the accounting industry. Okay? Accountants, auditors, people that work in businesses, people that work in the government doing accounting, they actually have their own organization. They're under the SEC, but they have their own organization that set these guidelines. And they change them as things happen or situations occur, as to how you are supposed to account for things. Okay? So it's basically industry driven, but it is under government guidelines and stuff. The reason for that is because, I don't know, it's been several years ago, but the corporations that got all their accounting people put in jail because they were hiding all the numbers. And so the government is overwatching it, but it is industry driven. And that's very important because that means that the accounting people are responsible for what they're doing on their jobs, right? And so if you go down here on week 2, I have another discussion down there for you, and we'll talk about this next Tuesday in class. I have 4 articles that I want you to be reading. Actually, one of them is like 3 or 4 articles that I just put all together in one document. But those are articles talking about what GAAP is. Okay? Now, the reason it's important is because any company that's publicly owned, okay, that means that they sell stock, right? Any company in the United States that sells stock has to follow these generally accepted accounting principles. They're required by law. If they don't, they can get fined and get in trouble, okay? Now, businesses that are not publicly traded don't have to follow these principles, but most of them do. Especially if they use a CPA to do their accounting and bookkeeping, because those CPAs, because of their credentials, are required to follow GAAP principles. Okay. Now, some people do their own bookkeeping and they may not follow all of these rules. I've had a few ladies over the years that have had businesses for 25 years and they did their own bookkeeping and they say, well, that's not the way I did it. Well, if you're not publicly traded, you don't have to follow all of those rules. Okay. But for the purposes of this class, we're going to assume that you have to follow GAAP principles and that you're a CPA, where you're under guidelines and rules and you have to do that. And so those articles talk about what GAAP is, what it controls, who has to do it. It has all of the guidelines. They're not real lengthy articles. I mean, they're mostly like one-page things. But they just talk about what GAAP does. The reason I want you to read those is this. I want you to understand the atmosphere that accountants work in. Okay? Everybody has a different job, and when you go to that job, you have different ways of doing things and looking at things, and managers look at things differently than marketing people do. Right? Managers look inside the company, marketing people look outside the company. I mean, it's different, and you see things differently. Accounting people have their own little atmosphere that they have to work in, and most of that is guided by these generally accepted accounting principles. Okay? The way they look at things is different than the way other people look at things. I'm going to give you an example, and you may not understand this right now, but you will eventually. How many of you have heard of depreciation? Everybody, I know I can't see you guys. Have you guys heard of depreciation before?
Yes.
Somebody say yes.
Yes.
Okay. I don't even know if they're still there or not. Can anybody hear me?
That would be horrible if they couldn't.
Maybe it's recording me. Depreciation is the way that you record things for taxes, right? Many companies, especially following things, record depreciation differently in their own books than they do for taxes. And the reason for that is because, in GAAP, they can choose how they're going to do the depreciation. For the taxes, they can choose how they're going to do depreciation. And they don't have to be the same. You can choose different ways. You show it in your books to be more accurate for what you're doing. But on your taxes, you may, for instance, you may depreciate a truck for 3 years in your books, but on your taxes, they say you have to do it for 5. Right? But in your use, you can only use it for 3. And so they don't have to be the same. And that's one of the reasons why this is important, is because the way we look at things in our own books, inside the company, the way we do it may be a little differently than how other people look at things. Okay? And we'll talk a little bit more. We'll talk about things like hostile takeovers and why they happen and stuff like that. And they have to do with how we record things in our books, right? And so we'll get into more of that. But that is a really good discussion. Like I said, we'll probably talk about that next Tuesday, just to finish up our discussion on chapter 1. But I wanted you to go ahead and be reading on those articles. That way you have enough time to get everything done. If you wait until the last minute, you don't have time to watch a 30-minute video or to read 3 or 4 articles. Okay? So be working on that. Every chapter, I'm going to have you answer the discussion questions. The discussion questions are at the end of the chapter in the book. Some chapters only have a few questions. Some of them have quite a few questions. I give you a little study guide in the instructions. I'll show you that real quickly here. Okay, well, I haven't put it on this one yet. But in here where it says instructions, I'll tell you, for instance, to go read the objectives for the chapter. Right? Then I'll tell you to look at the new terms. At the beginning of each chapter, they have a list of terms that are going to be introduced. Then I'll tell you to look at the sectional objectives, and I'll give you all these page numbers, and then read through the chapter. And some of them I may give you a video that goes along with the chapter to watch. And then it'll tell you to go back. After you've read through everything, watch the video, go back, look at the chapter review, which is at the end of the chapter. That goes back over all of those objectives again. And then they have a glossary that tells you the definition for all of those words that were at the new terms list. Okay? And then I'll have you answer the questions. And all I want you to do is just type your answers in Word. It will help you in the long run if you type the questions and the answers. That way you can use it as a study guide. Okay? But you don't have to type the questions if you type slow and that is hindering you. I don't care. But it'll help you in the long run if you type the questions and the answers. That way you tie them together, plus you have a study guide. Okay? And then you'll just upload those to me in Miles Arca for me to look at. And then you also have an online quiz. This is on the textbook website. Let me scroll that up a little bit. I've given you a link here to the website for the textbook. That website has a lot of stuff on there. There are, I think you can look at PowerPoints. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff on there. All I want you to do, there's one on there that's called a online quiz, or it's just a few questions. The reason I have you do these is because you're going to be taking a lot of exams in here. You're going to have an objective exam over every chapter, and then you're going to have a problem exam over every chapter. And they're basically all multiple choice things that you're going to do in Miles Arca, okay? Which means that all those questions are coming from a test bank, right? Okay? This online quiz lets you see how they word stuff. Okay, these are true, false. The ones on the exam are multiple choice, but they let you see what they think is important, how they're going to word the questions. They always try to trick you, right? And so and every time you take the quiz, you get different questions. So you can take it as many times as you want to. It'll record whatever, you send me whatever your high, if you make a perfect on one, send that one to me, okay? The way I want you to send these is to do a print screen. Okay, do you guys know how to do that? On your keyboard, there's a button that says print screen, PRTSCN, something like that. Most of them you have to push shift print screen. Some of them you just hit print screen. What it does is it puts a picture of your screen on the clipboard, like you hit copy, and then you can just open Word and hit paste, and it'll put that picture in there for me. Yeah, it's a screenshot. Yeah, and basically, then you can just upload that to me in MilesArca. There's a page after you take the quiz and it grades it that shows how many you got correct, and that's all I need to see. Is just, it'll show me which quiz it was and how many you got correct and how many you missed. Just do a screenshot or a print screen of that screen. Just paste it into Word and upload that to me, so I can give you credit. Okay. Again, those are just kind of assignments that are geared toward the terminology and also in letting you see how the test bank works. Okay. So those are those assignments we'll have for every chapter. Some of the chapters will have different things, more stuff or less stuff, but all of them will have you doing the discussion questions from the chapter and then the online quiz from the website. Okay. And then like I said, some of them have more things and some of them have less for you to do. I just want to make sure everybody's on the same page. For chapter 1, there's just going to be an objective exam in a couple of weeks over just the material because there's not any math or numbers or anything like that in chapter 1. In the other chapters, you're going to, like I said, you're going to have an objective exam that's kind of over the terms and stuff, and then you'll also have a production or problem exam, which will be, they're multiple choice, but you have to look at the numbers and do some figuring and figure out what the answer is to those. Okay? So they're a little bit more complicated and difficult than the objective part is because you have to be able to do the math and put everything in order and all that stuff. Okay? Just go in there in MilesArca. Like I said, I know the other sites are not seeing everything as well, and they may not even be able to hear me at the moment, but just look through that. Look through there. I don't have everything set up yet. I've only got the first couple of weeks set up for right now. I'm working on that this week. I realized I have not taught it online before, and Miss Langston asked me to do that. She gave me a bunch of stuff, and I'm going through it and organizing it and sorting it. And I found some stuff from the online that I want to put in this class, and some stuff from this that I want to put in that class. So I'm kind of merging them together. And so I've only got through like the first couple of chapters right now. Okay, but the first couple of chapters is like 5 or 6 weeks. So I mean, we're in good shape right now. Okay, so just be working on that. So for Thursday, you need to read chapter 1. Okay, look through that, familiarize yourself with it. I want you to watch that accounting in action video and do the discussion for me. Okay, like I said, it doesn't have to be a book. It just asks for a paragraph. What you thought about the video, or if you saw anything that you thought might help you with the class. I've had people tell me that, it encouraged them, that, maybe this is what they wanted to do. I've had people tell me, now I know I don't want to do accounting. It doesn't matter. It's your opinion. Okay. And I just want to point that out to you. It's a good idea to go ahead and look at the syllabus. I don't have everything perfect yet. Some of the percentages may not be exact until I get these two classes merged together, but it's close. So you can kind of see where you're going, and I'll let you know when I get it perfect, okay? Well, as close to perfect as it's going to get. But like I said, you can still look at that and kind of see what's going on a little bit. It has the important thing on the syllabus is at the very end it has the academic calendar, so it tells you like when we're going to be off for fall break and Thanksgiving, Labor Day holidays, things like that. The bad thing about Tuesday, Thursday is you don't get many of the holidays because most of them are Mondays. But that's okay. We'll get off the whole week of Thanksgiving and I have to work, so but it'll be all right. Okay, so textbook, you just need the first 6 chapters. 1 chapter at a time is fine with me if you want to put them in a binder. Okay, you will be responsible for printing some stuff out. I will, like I said, I've got some stuff linked for you. Some of them are fairly lengthy. I don't recommend that you print them at home. Okay, okay. So When I tell you to go print the chapter 2 working papers, I'll show you where they're at. Go in one of the labs on campus. You're paying a technology fee to do that, okay? Yeah, go in there. No, it's not there anymore. Go in there in one of the labs and print those out so that you'll have them. A lot of people like to go ahead and punch 3 holes in them and put them in your notebook, okay? Or put them in a notebook by themselves. Keep everything that I don't take from you, okay? Some of the stuff I'll take up and I may not get it back to you since I'm having to mail them and all this kind of stuff. I may just go over it and put your comments in and I'll just hold on to them because it's easier that way. But whatever I give you that I don't take up, you can keep. Save those files. Don't just print them. Save them on your computer. And that way, if you need them for Accounting 1 to help you with something, because like I said, you're going to have to do most of Accounting 1 in Excel, typing stuff in the boxes, but it might help you to write it down on paper first. And so if you want to, like I said, you can keep those working papers files that I give you. They're in PDF format, which is Adobe Reader. So they're read-only. You can't mess them up. All you can do is print them. So that way you can have those for Accounting 1 if you need them later. All right? Trying to give you everything that I can so that it'll help you as you're working on these. Okay? All right. Can you got anybody hear me on the other sides?
Yeah.
Okay, good. A while ago I asked and nobody could hear me, or nobody answered me. I don't know. I will send out an email kind of detailing some of these things for you this afternoon. So if you did miss something, God, I don't know what they were doing. They were working on the sound. So if you missed something, I'll send out an email kind of detailing all of this. The big thing is just read chapter 1 and work on that accounting in action discussion. The rest of the stuff we can touch on again on Thursday and make sure everybody's going the right direction. Okay? And then I'll tell you what you need to do after that. Okay? Anybody have any questions?